Global Indian Network. Print, TV, events, podcasts. Find out more at globalindianseries.com. Hi, my name is Divya and I'm co-founder of the Global Indian podcast. Before you get to today's show, I've got a quick favour to ask. If you've been enjoying our conversations, I'd love if you could take just 1 minute to leave us a review on the platform that you're listening to us on and share our work to friends and family. It helps us out a lot. Word of mouth is the primary way that we grow. Thanks for your continued support.
You're not a politician, but you hold a role that is heavily politicized. And people inherently will view you to be a certain type of character, especially if we take the likes of the typical Indian media. So what's it truly like to be somebody like you at this moment in time?
I think it is very difficult. I was the youngest chairperson of Women Commission ever to be appointed in the country. I became the chairperson at the age of 30, and it's been 8 years since. And in 6 years, we have collected the record. In 6 years, we've handled over 100,000 cases. On a daily basis, on our 181 Women's Helpline, which we've set up, around 2,000 to 4,000 calls are coming. We have a mechanism that we have put in place where every time a call lands on our helpline, immediately relief is sent in the form of a counselor, a car, to the survivor, and help is provided then and there, whether they are in the police station, whether they are at their home. We've rescued thousands of women and girls through this process, from sex trafficking, from all kinds of violence. So that's the work that the Commission has done in a small period of 6 to 8 years. But it's very difficult to be doing what I'm doing, because frankly, there is absolutely no support from anywhere, because we are really hitting at the roots of patriarchy.
Well, just to put it in consideration for the audience, your predecessor was there for over 8 years. You've dealt with over 100,000 cases. Your predecessor dealt with 1. So there's a vast difference in the way that you've been approaching things. What are the big misconceptions do you feel that the world has? Because when you hear of Delhi Commission for Women, you think, well, this is going to be a government-funded organization. Is at the center of governance in India. Surely, if anyone's going to get support, it is going to be you guys.
It's very interesting. In fact, when I was offered this role for the first time, I went into a state of shock, because before that, I was advised Chief Minister on public grievances, and I was doing a lot of work. I was helping people directly. I was so excited about it because I've been an activist all my life. Suddenly I get a post in which just my one sign can help thousands and thousands of people. So it was very exciting. And then suddenly I was told that now I'm going to be the chairperson of the Delhi Commission for Women. And I really went into a state of depression, because I felt that what is it that the Women Commission does? Even I had no idea. Because actually the Women Commission was so silent and was not doing any work, like you very rightly said. My predecessor in 8 years had handled only 1 case. So I was also coming from that imagination, that viewpoint that there is absolutely nothing. Why was I posted here? I mean, this is a place where retired people probably just sit for the perks of the post. And when I entered the commission and I read the law, and I realized that it is so powerful, I can issue summons to officers. I can make sure that they do certain works. I can, if they don't agree, I can issue arrest warrants. So we are a quasi-judicial body, but unfortunately, there is just silence across commissions. And it's not just the Delhi Commission for Women. You see, there are commissions across all the states, and there is a National Commission for Women. But it's so unfortunate that women commissions, they just remain silent. Now, with the Delhi Commission for Women, we completely changed that. I remember the first letter that I shot off was to the police commissioner. I asked him that how many complaints of crimes against women were received, how many FIRs were filed, how many people were convicted, how many people were charge sheeted, how many people are out on bail now. And the police commissioner, because probably he had also not heard about the Women Commission, was completely silent on those letters. So 1 letter, 2nd letter, 3rd letter, he refused to answer. And then after that, I felt that it is an insult to the post. And if I'm not able to exert my voice as the chairperson of the Delhi Commission for Women, what help can I bring to the women and girls of the capital in the country? So I issued a summon to the police commissioner. He was very offended. He sent me a 14-page letter saying that if he gives me data on crimes against women, it will be a law and order problem in the capital. So I just told him that you have to appear in front of the commission, explain to me why is it that you have given me such a bizarre reply, and why is it that you're refusing the data to the commission. And then the data came, and that has set the ball rolling. Today, coming from a place where the Women Commission was completely ignored, we have reached a stage where my Twitter handle is on the hit list of the police. The moment I tweet that I'm going to be issuing a notice on this, immediately before I'm able to issue a notice, they actually do the work. They make the FIR, they arrest the person. So we've come a long way, but it's been a very difficult journey because it's very difficult to raise your voice and to fight this completely patriarchal system and vested interests. It's not easy.
Vested interests from whom?
The entire system, you see, if you look at trafficking, so there is a particular area in Delhi called the GB Road. That is the area where trafficking happens. That's the area where there are brothels, there's commercial sexual exploitation of women. Now, I'll give you an example. One day, we rescued around 17 girls from there. And before doing any work, any kind of a counseling, the Delhi police that very night sent those girls back. When I issued a notice to the police, and I was like, what are you doing? Why don't you let us counsel these girls? Let us speak to the girls. We are the ones who have rescued them. Why can't we talk to them? And after that, I raised a hue and cry, was 16 of them brought back. And then the counseling happened, and then they were rescued. So you see that there is a complete vested interest. Trafficking is one of the biggest organized crimes in the world. How is it that the Delhi Commission for Women, having hardly any resource, any funds, is able to rescue thousands of girls, is able to get information, is able to stop child marriages, is able to rescue even girls from outside the capital, and the police is just feigns ignorance. They say that we didn't even have any idea. On one night itself, we have rescued more than 41 girls from Nepal who were brought to Delhi for trafficking. They were being trafficked to the Gulf, and we managed to save them. And now these girls, where they were kept, it was hardly at any distance from the local police station. And our office is really far away. Still, we were able to manage to find out. We went there at night. I personally went there. At 12 o'clock in the night, we somehow managed to rescue these girls. But where is the police? So there is a vested interest within the system to maintain status quo. There's also a vested interest with regards to why should we allow a woman to be able to exert her voice and to be able to ask difficult questions. Like I remember when we started doing this, because it's something which was unheard of in the country. You never had a women commission who would ask difficult questions. Even now, the National Commission for Women, as well as other commissions across the country, if they have a complaint, they just write a letter. But we issue notices. We make sure that it's legal binding. We issue summons. And after our summons, the authorities are forced to answer to the commission. So that is the kind of work that we are doing. So I think there is an inherent dislike for strong women in the system, and the system tries to crush you. There is also a lot of sexism. Like when I became the chairperson of the Delhi Commission for Women, I was asked that, how is it that a young girl will be able to question the police commissioner or, the ministers, or just make the system shake up a bit. But I was able to do it because I think that it's not about your age. It is about how powerful you are here. I think power is a state of mind. And we were able to exert it. So, and also sexism as in respect of, because if you are a women commission chairperson, you're supposed to look a particular way, you're supposed to dress up a particular way. but I don't follow any of that. I wear what I want. I live my life the way I want, but I know that what I have got, the post that I have got, if I'm not able to use it for service, I think I don't deserve to be called a human being, a woman, if I'm not able to do that. So I try that whatever waking moments I have, whatever efforts I can put in order to make sure that help reaches to the maximum people. That's what I do, because that is what I'm here for. Otherwise, I would be outside and doing some other work. Why would I be here under so much of stress, as well as trauma, as well as personal risk? Why would I do that?
Well, I suppose because you left your corporate job in 2006 to take up these social activism areas. And one thing that's quite interesting as a commissioner is that you've actually staged your own hunger strikes. So that's something quite unheard of, especially not just in India, but across the globe, that you're actively taking the bull by its horns there. Why do you have to do something so public and desperate in order for change to take place? Because surely your voice should be enough.
You see, it happened in 2018. An 8-month-old baby was brutally raped in the capital. She had to undergo 3 operations in order to survive. I make it a point to meet all the child survivors of rape and even women. The moment I got to know that an 8-month-old baby has been raped and she has just been brought to the hospital, I rushed to that hospital and I saw her bleeding, and I really was not able to leave her. So we got her 3 operations done. That entire night, I was there in the hospital with her. The entire hospital was in a state of disbelief. I was in a state of deep trauma, and I cannot even begin to describe what the parents were going through. That happened after my 3 years as the chairperson of the Delhi Commission for Women, where I had put in all my efforts to move the system to be able to make sure that rapes do not happen in the capital, in the country. But I felt so sad and angry that despite all that effort, despite my working 24/7, no Saturday off for me, no Sunday off for me, there were nights that I was on the streets, such hard work and commitment, and yet I felt so angry that I was not able to save an 8-month-old baby from getting brutally raped. And that kind of made me question everything. And I felt that, yes, I'm powerful. Yes, my voice is powerful. But what do I do if those in powers refuse to hear me out, refuse to act on my advice? Then what do I do? There are 2 options. One is that I can feel that, look, I have done my bit. I have told them what needs to be done. If they're not doing it, I cannot help it. But I don't operate like that, because I am personally invested in this cause. It's my life. It is something that I have given years and years to. And that little child, her fingers, the blood on her, that kept haunting me. So I sat on a hunger strike and I demanded from the center that please make the punishment for rapists of children stringent. Please make sure that there are greater resources and accountability on the police. Make sure that the trial happens within 6 months through the due process. However, number of courts we need to increase. All that I did, I demanded it, and I sat on a hunger strike. The hunger strike lasted for 10 days. I did not have anything to eat in those 10 days. I became very ill. But on the 10th day, the center had to meet my demands because people from all over the country and the globe supported. There was just so much support that came that the center had to bend, and center had to create a new ordinance, a new law came. I broke my hunger strike, though I was very, very apprehensive that what will really happen. Yes, the law has come, but will it be implemented?
Yeah.
And all my apprehensions came true, because despite the law, The problem continued. Hardly anybody was given strong punishment, hardly any convictions, no increase in resources, no increase in accountability of the system. That 1.5 years later, I again sat on a hunger strike. This time, this lasted for around 13 days. And on the 13th day, I fell ill. But during those 13 days, there were several changes that were announced. It was announced by the center that there will be 1,000 fast track courts that will be set up, that there will be special women police help desks that will be set up. And it's very unfortunate. This happened in 2019. We are in 2023, and yet we are exactly there. Even last year, I heard the same minister from the center making the same announcement again, that this year they have decided to make 1,000 fast track courts, when that was announced at the time of my hunger strike. So I feel cheated. I feel angry. And really, one feels that how many hunger strikes will it take for this government to move? Because fact is that even today, we are having 6 rapes in the capital every day. Even 3 days back, one girl, she was beaten to death with an iron rod by a man because she refused his advances. So such horrific cases of crimes against women are coming. And despite my repeated requests for high-level meetings, committees, action, hardly anything's happening.
Part of India's public diplomacy is to tell the world that this is an emerging market that is now a superpower, that the world should come and invest, and that the people are upright citizens, that they're making movements. But the underpinning to that is the reality of saying, well, how safe is it for minorities, but more importantly, the women within the country, especially when you have such visible issues taking place? What's your biggest frustration with the global environment when they look towards India and they look towards women's rights? Is it taken as strong as it should be, or is it something that is normally patted down with the vises of having better bilateral support?
I think India is a beautiful country. I love my country and I really love Delhi. I cannot imagine myself anywhere else. When I travel to America, my sister is there. I've been there twice to meet her. And whenever I have gone there, I have waited to come back to my country and I have waited to come back to India because I really, really like my home. Delhi is home for me. But at the same time, the fact is, and I cannot ignore that elephant in the room, that there are very serious cases of crimes against women. That said, we also have a lot of women in leadership positions. We also have a lot of women participating in the workforce. We also have some very interesting schemes for women. We have women leading in almost all the fields, whether it is science, whether it is technology, whether it is social activism, whether it is politics. So we have great women taking the country forward. That said, my problem is not with the people of my country, because I think whatever progress we are making is because of the resourcefulness, the intelligence, and the innate nature, wonderful nature of the people of my country. My problem is the government. My problem is that these people whom we elect, what is it that they do after we have elected them? My problem is that when the center refuses to absolutely take any cognizance on issues related to crimes against women, my heart bleeds, because I know that our country has the potential of even more progress, of even more development, if only the government gets its action right. And it really is very, very disturbing, because every time a crime happens, we will see all politicians coming out and saying that it's a mindset problem, that people in the country are like that. But I I hate that statement, because I don't believe it. You see, when I sat on the hunger strike, there were hundreds and thousands and lakhs of people on the street helping me out. And many of them, and frankly, most of them were actually men. So it's not as if that, the people in the country are bad. See, in every society, you have certain elements who are criminal. If you don't take action against those elements, if you take absolutely no stand against them, if you set up a Nirbhaya fund after the gang rape and murder of a girl who was brutally assaulted, you set up a Nirbhaya fund of 1,000 crore rupees, supposed to be done every year, and by 2023 crimes don't go down, but the Nirbhaya fund goes down from 1,000 crores to 250 crores. That is my problem. So my problem is with the government. My problem is that if the government decides to actually raise this issue, to take it sensitively, to actually do some action on it, to ensure that there is greater accountability of police, there is more police forces, there is a system which ensures certainty and swiftness of punishments through a proper process. If the government is able to take a tough stand against rapists, I think a lot will change. Right now, what is it that the government is doing? Bilkis Banu, she was a 19-year-old girl. She was already pregnant with a 5-month-old child. She was gang raped, and her 3-year-old son, as well as 6 other family members, were murdered in her presence. Such a horrific case, horrific case in 2002 in Gujarat. And what happens? Last year, during the Independence Day, these rapists and murderers convicted, they were let out by the government. For what? Why did they let him out? And they were actually garlanded by certain organizations. There is a man called Ram Rahim. He is a fraud god man. He's convicted of rape and murder. And every other day, the Haryana government decides to release him on parole. He comes out on parole and is actually doing his sermons through video conferencing, in which Haryana government, positions on high, people on high positions in the government come in that pravachan, in that sermon, hold their hands, fold it in front of the Babaji, and just lie down in front of him and say that, our government is running because of you, and we really are so proud of you. And this is their statement to a convicted rapist and murderer. So such cases are coming up. There were wrestlers, 6 Olympian wrestlers, such powerful women. They come out, they talk against the sexual abuse meted out to them by the Wrestling Federation of India chief, who's also the MP from the ruling party. He's a member of parliamentarian. These girls, their FIR was not filed. They kept sitting on the streets for 6 months, for a month. And yet no action was taken in any of those complaints. And this man has finally got out on bail. So it's very unfortunate, the scenario that the government is creating, where it is seeming to be siding with rapists, with criminals, and not with the women of the country.
What is the India that you believe in? What does being Indian mean to you?
What being Indian means to me is, I think we are a very God-fearing and a very powerful set of people. We are resourceful, we are intelligent, we are also very self-satisfied. I think that by and large, most Indians believe in doing good to others. That is my opinion, because I have traveled the length and breadth of this country. I have gone to the villages, I have lived there, and I have felt so safe and welcomed. Even now, I'm just returning from Manipur. Manipur is a place, it's a state in India, and I have never been to Manipur before. The viral video that you were mentioning initially was from the state of Manipur. These girls were paraded naked, they were molested, and one of them was gang raped. And it was such a horrific video. It just shook everybody's conscience. I left everything. I went to Manipur. The Manipur government told me not to come. They told me, don't come. There is a law and order problem in the state. It is going to be a problem to protect you. We will not give you any security. Don't come. I still went there without any security. I went to all the riot affected areas amidst very heavy shelling and firing. Still, I went there and I met those survivors' family. They hugged me, they cried, and no compensation had reached them. No help from the government had reached them. No, the chief minister had not met them. None of the ministers had met them. No senior officials had met them. But I quote that instance right now here when you ask me, what do I think about India? What does being an Indian mean to you? Despite such difficulties, those people hugged me and they thanked me. They were so full of gratitude that I came all the way from Delhi just to meet them in the most difficult circumstances when their own chief minister had refused to meet them. Everywhere I went in Manipur, people were hugging me and thanking me. I think that is India. I think that is the beauty of India. People are warm, people are loving, people are caring, people welcome you, people by and large are very nice to you. But it's so unfortunate that there are certain people in the country. Of course, there are certain people with criminal mindsets. They are right now roaming around free because the government just fails to nab them, and even if it nabs them, is able to just let them go because of whatever influence they exert. So I think the people in my country are beautiful. My country is beautiful. It has such amazing places of wonder, and the kind of spirituality that is followed here. I mean, people of all faiths, they live together, they live happily, and there are cases after cases, instances after instances where you will see that. And people are so amazing, but I really don't think I can say the same thing for the government.
What's the personal toll that this has taken on you? Because I know when we spoke just prior to this, you're in such a public position that almost demands you to be constantly on edge to tell people, look, these are the big issues. I think what often happens, people forget about the human behind the position. And some of the cases that you see, if not all the cases, are going to have these scarring effects on the way that you look at the world, look at your own country, look at just the way that civilizations are. Why don't you take a moment right now? What's the biggest difficulties that you face on a personal side? And what is the human side towards all of this? Because it can never be easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy at all. It's very difficult, especially if you ask questions from the government. The government is out there to get you. They have registered false cases against me. There are false criminal cases that are ongoing on me. 6 months back, my house was attacked. Thankfully, I was not there. My mother was not there. We managed to survive. But a man had entered our house with a knife and he vandalized everything. And the Delhi police did not take any action against him. I don't have any security. I am taking action against almost all most powerful people in this country. I'm like a lone voice who is raising the issue and making sure that strong action is taken against them. So there is a lot of personal risk involved. Even with Manipur, it was so difficult. I went there on my own funds. I went there without any support from the Manipur government, and my family was not able to probably even breathe properly until I landed back in Delhi, because there is firing going on there. There is so much violence there. And, you have this daughter who is just wanting to correct the world, change the world. But when you come back home and you have to look at your mother, and when she cries and she begs you not to do anything extreme, it is very painful. So I think that is the most challenging part of it. And I also feel very angry that despite having the most pure of intentions. If only the central government would support, if only we can create a system in which the central government, the state government, as well as me, if we can sit together and we can bring about a change, because I really think that we can. This complete silence around women issues, this complete ignoring of what we are saying is very painful. And yes, of course, I am vulnerable. Every day I hear so many incidents. They take a personal toll on me. These rape survivors, they are screaming, they are in pain. And I, as well as my team, we imbibe that pain on a daily basis. I'm not able to shut it out. Those noises are there in my mind. I try my level best, but it's not easy. When I go and lie down on the bed, every day, all those instances, they continue to haunt me. And it's very difficult. But I have decided that I will look after myself and I will fight this battle in between, because I've always been a workaholic. For me, work is everything. I used to focus so much on work that I just let go of Swati. And in between, like I took divorce from my husband. It was a horrible marriage. I divorced that man. And after that, I started realizing that what is it that I do for Swati? As a person, I've had a very difficult childhood. My family was very dysfunctional. I've gone through some really horrific pain in my childhood. That propelled me to take up activism, and that is where I derive all my strength from, because I feel that, if you've gone through pain, you can actually empathize with other people's pain much better. And that's exactly what I have done all my life. But now I've started looking after Swati also. And for the first time in my life, I'm really in love with Swati. I really like her. I really am proud of her. And I really tell her every day that, whatever happens, I will be there for myself, because it's so important for women to be able to do that. We love everybody around us. We are there for everyone around us. But it's so difficult for us to take care for ourselves. So now I make it a point. I go to the gym. I look after myself, whatever be the situation. I try and take out some time during the week for myself. I try and take out some time during the week for my family, because I think that's also very important. And it's been a journey. It's been a journey from extreme pain in the childhood to extreme work and working for others and deriving a sense of self, happiness, and strength from helping others. And now coming a full circle, where now I've started looking after Swati as well, because I think it is the most crucial part. And I look at women across, and that is our biggest mistake. We look after everybody under the sun, but we don't look after ourselves. So I have learned to do that. And today I'm a much happier and much stronger person. Difficulties are there. All kinds of things are said. People can be very nasty. I spoke out about how my father sexually abused me as a child, and the kind of trolling I went through, it really shook me from inside. But I still took it in my stride, and it has just made me stronger. So I am a woman of substance. I will say and do what I think is right, and I will try to use my position to help thousands and lakhs of people in this country and globally until I am alive, and nobody can say anything to take my shine away.
Do you feel, because I've seen a lot of your media interviews, and they always have the same type of tonality within there, and it feels like you're almost pigeonholed as an individual, that almost you're standoffish because you're fighting for these big causes. So I think it's quite difficult for the general public to realize, well, this is a living, breathing human being as well that has emotions. What's one of the questions that you wish that the media would ask you? Is there any questions that you wish, hang on, in all these interviews, I wish that they'd actually asked me X, Y, or Z?
I think the media grills people like me a lot. So we go through a lot of grilling. But my question from the media is, why is it that our counterparts are never grilled? You see, the Union WCD minister was completely silent all throughout the Manipur incident. The National Commission for Women Chairperson, she got a complaint on this viral video incident 38 days back, and she decided to be silent on it for 38 days. And when the video went viral on Twitter, she tweets that I'm taking suo moto cognizance on this issue. I mean, what is suo moto? Suo moto is when you don't have a complaint and you take cognizance on your own accord. Clearly, that was not the case. But you see, how is it? When is it that the media grills these individuals? It's very unfortunate that the right questions are not asked. As far as I'm concerned, I completely agree with you. I'm this breathing woman who has emotions, who has feelings, who is extremely vulnerable, and I'm sorry to say also very emotional. Many times I act out of my emotions. I went to Manipur and I hugged that girl, that mother of the girl who was gang raped, and she cried in my arms. And I tried my level best at that moment to control my tears and to give her more support, and just to keep telling her that, look, we are there for you. But I could not control it. I was like weeping. Similarly, I met a 70-year-old woman in that during that very day from Churachandpur in Manipur. This woman, she was living peacefully with her only son in her house, and she suddenly heard gunshots. She wakes up, she sits up, she sees that there are bullets flying all around. She wakes her son up, and the son gets up, and the moment he sits, the bullet crosses him and he dies on the spot. Now, these are the kind of stories that we hear every day. I'm expected to be brave. I'm expected to be strong. I'm expected to be somebody who should, handle a complaint and, okay, I'm done with this. Now let me move on to the next complaint. But believe you me, I'm not able to move on. I can't move on. That woman cried, and I cried and cried because I imagined my own nanny in her. And it was so painful. And how do you move on from that pain? So it's very unfortunate that politics in my country, that it's so warped and it is so demeaning that anything anybody does is just looked from a prism of, oh, she is getting something out of it, or there's some benefit, or there is some politics that she's trying to do. Oh, why did she go here? Why did she not go there? But we don't look at people in positions of power as human beings. We don't understand that when they go there, the kind of trauma that they also face. And instead of having a support system for them, we end up, through our snide comments, completely demeaning them and completely negating their entire body of work. And I have learned to take it in my stride. I'm such a stronger person this year because I've strolled so incessantly, that now I have become this really strong woman. And to be very frank, earlier I used to still be a bit concerned that, look, what will people think, and how would, people perceive me, and maybe I should be a bit careful. Now I have become this really very strong person, and I have stopped thinking what people will think, because believe you me, I don't give a damn. I believe that the cause I'm fighting for is worth fighting for. And I know myself that I will never do anything wrong. I will not let any wrong thing happen by myself, because I believe in God. I'm a very God-fearing human being. I believe in Gita, and I believe in its message that you have to work for other people, and you don't have to worry about what they think or what benefit you will get out of it. So, and this kind of a life, and this kind of strength I have been only able to derive through the body of work that I have been able to do. And I think I'm very lucky. You see, not many people in this world have an opportunity to be able to do good through their work. So with all the difficulties that I faced, and it was very difficult when I decided to give up my corporate job, my entire family was up in arms against me. I mean, my mother is a single parent. We don't have money. We don't have any support system. Obviously, when she had made sure that I studied well, she was counting on me financially and as a support system. And one day I just tell her that, look, I've had enough. I'm going to live in a juggi. I'm going to live in a slum, and I'm going to help the people there. Obviously, it's a matter of big shock. And I've gone through a lot of negativity and toxicity there. But somewhere my family also, towards the end at least, started really believing in what I was doing, because they felt that I'm becoming a better human being. I mean, when your world becomes bigger, I think you become much bigger. Otherwise, our world is very small. It's just about our husband. It's about our boyfriend. It's about our family. It is about our, work, and just it's a small world. But if you make it bigger, I think that the kind of strength that you get out of it, and the kind of happiness that you get, and the meaning that you get in life, I don't think that any amount of money or any amount of fame can actually counter that.
You're right. I think it's not about what you get out of life that matters. It's who you become. It's the same thing with situations, and you've done that throughout your own existence. Swati, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on. It's a real privilege because we place a great reliance on the integrity of our leaders, people who take up positions, and most of the time we see selective moral outrage, we see virtue signaling, and we almost become almost desensitized to just how terrible the politics can be. But when you have an individual who works because it's who they are, because of their past experiences, and works fearlessly, without fear or without favor, to make a difference, well, I think that gives us a new hope for not just a better India, but I think hopefully a better civilization of all sentient beings out there. If people want to support the work of the Delhi Commission for Women, what can they do? Where can they go?
I request as much support as we can have. And my email ID is livingpositive@gmail.com. I'll repeat it. It is livingpositive@gmail.com. It's one word. I request whoever wants to support in whatever way can write to us. And if people want to support survivors, they can also write to us. We will try and get them connected to the survivors so that help can directly reach them.
Fantastic. Swati, thank you very much. It was lovely to have you on.
Thank you.
Global Indian Network. Print, TV, events, podcasts. Find out more at globalindianseries.com.